And welcome to another great episode of Tampa Fishing Outfitters Live Fishing Report. Myself, Captain Travis Yaeckel in the studio. Big Rick.
What's that?
Captain Rick Liles and Captain Jason Prieto in the studios.
Hey, hey, hey.
Talk a little fishing, see what's going on. It's been interesting last couple days, man, as far as the weather's concerned. Fishing's pretty good. A little slow at times, but the weather's really been the kicker for the last, I'd say the last 4 days. The wind's been it's progressively gotten worse over the last 2 weeks, but
with some cooler weather.
Some cooler weather moved in us. Baits did a scramble. We had a lot going on. We had a full moon.
Sardine Sammy over here.
Sardines show up on a lot of the areas around.
Sardine
here.
Sammy.
Jason had to hop on my boat the other morning and
dude, my back hurt me the next day.
Ooh, buddy. I mean, that was some meat.
It's funny. I said, I think you might have cleaned this marker out.
I know.
And the next day I couldn't get it. I said, maybe you really did.
I mean, it was a pretty good haul. I thought I was hung. I kind of went by, man. I pulled. I went, oh gosh, man.
You're not.
Please be white bait.
We've heard.
And it was a mix of both. The Spanish sardines were hung from the horn down, and the whole ball in the net was nothing but white bait.
You just can't get your hands around the net when you get
gross.
sardines. It's like you need to bear hug it, but they're so gross. I was cleaning my net out yesterday. I had some. Don't you?
There's like a
you're
slime.
nasty, dude.
They're stank.
At the marker yesterday, Jason pulls his net out, and it must have had 75 dead baits stuck in it from the day before.
That's good luck.
Like the way you did the day when I was with you. I couldn't even get on the same end of the boat with you.
It's fine if you do that.
It's like
I know it stinks when it's going down that first throw, they all come to.
They're like, oh, look at the schools of bait. Let me go hang out with them.
Yep.
Yeah. No, they come easier.
Baits?
Yeah. They in the net.
They stink. Spanish sardines stink. Well, and there's not many baits around here that don't stink. A lot of our baits are oily.
Well, when they all stink when they're a day or two old.
You ain't lying. Well, what I was going to say
is,
does anybody
for getting bait? Because getting bait is so glorified these days.
Do they make a soap, like a laundry soap, to get greenbacks out of your clothes? Like, my wife would love to know that question. They stink, man. I'll come home, especially if I'm going to run an afternoon trip, I'll try to run home and take a shower before
you threw some clothes away, didn't you?
I did the other day. When I cleaned that net out, man, I didn't have time to clean that net out.
My neighbor hadn't talked to me since.
Yeah, I know. I don't have a good history with the Spanish sardines.
Oh, I mean, you and them have a hate relationship.
Yeah, it's all it's definitely love hate. Definitely love hate. But you can get through them. And what we were talking about on the way over is some Spanish sardines that are around, man. They're hog legs. I mean, these are magnum. You can almost think you got a net full of greenbacks, man, until you start looking and you go, wait a minute.
The other morning, I used them for the first hour and a half trip because they were still fresh.
They're not too bad.
Yeah. And we caught some fish on them, but those were studs.
Yeah, they were hog legs, man. I mean,
and they last longer than threadies in the well.
Yes.
I mean, they're not greenbacks, but they last. You can use them for bait. Sure. You get a few.
But
die
off
over time in the
water. Yeah, scales will knock off. They're just as hardy as scaled sardines.
Let me tell you something. The other day we were talking about getting beaten, and I pulled the mammoth float. I had a lot of greenbacks. So I said, screw it, I'm gonna dump it in the well. Right. I had scales come on my live well for like 3 hours. I'm like, I'm getting chum slick going here. But you guys ever thought about putting chum in your live well while if you're getting at the marker to get?
Don't do that.
Why?
I know somebody did that with menhaden oil.
Not menhaden oil, like chum.
They put menhaden oil in their.
No, not that. That'll stick to the side. Turn the color
in the live well. You mean?
Yeah, that's not a good idea.
In their live well,
and just let it run, and it just slowly.
And they were bait in it. Also,
did he have Did he have a Yellow Ranger?
No, they were.
Was that Yellow Ranger?
No,
that sounds like
no, this guy's not a guide. He lives down in Britain, but yeah, I guess he was using the other live well. I don't know. I didn't even think of that. But
I tell you,
he wasn't putting the bait in there.
I'll try anything once.
I want to see that.
He said it was a train wreck. He said, I couldn't hardly ever get that out.
Oh,
he didn't dump like a gallon there. He just put a little bit, but he said.
And the problem was what now?
It stuck to his live well. He basically had to to hand wash it with soap to get it off.
Yeah,
the
it's
side.
stuck to the sides.
I
you know
got
that.
you. I got you.
No, but I'm saying like chum, like
Like
Purina?
powder chum, Purina chum.
yeah, like in your well when it's running and it's gonna run the
Not a
back. You
bad
got a
idea.
ripping tide.
It'll run out on the bottom.
Yeah, it's
Maybe
you're gonna get
it
that
may be dissolved
flush.
the time it gets out of your boat. Maybe though.
Or it may not. You might
It may
have
not.
the mammoth.
You may
I do know-
have
Massive-
just thought
Oh,
of the next
you got it.
trend-setting
People are
fishing.
gonna now have chum wells on their boat.
Hey,
Hey man, put a little 3-gallon
Just-
well in the
just a
back.
little
You
chum
put your
well?
chum.
Chum well.
Think about it.
hey,
You got
You may be
a
onto
little
something.
circle, a little circle deal with like a little 200-gallon-an-hour pump, and you fill that bad boy with chum, and you just turn the live well pump
like
on.
a feeder for
Yeah.
a hunter.
There you go.
Instead of having your feeder
It's like
go,
a-
We
It's
talked
like a
about
bird-
this.
it's a-
No,
it's
we
just
talked
a
about
bird
you and I
feeder.
talked about this.
yeah,
A magnetic
well,
one.
sticking on the
You
mark.
stick it on the marker, just like a squirrel feeder,
Yeah,
and it starts firing off, son. And you just wheel around there and get her done.
The conversations we have
hey,
amongst ourselves.
the 3-gallon chum.
Three
well.
talented guys right
The
here.
3-gallon chum
You
well.
heard it here
That is
first.
such a great
Chum
idea.
well on a boat.
I just like
you know,
the
I'll
name.
take a drive to Pathfinder
Can we-
tomorrow. I'm gonna have to talk to Charlie about
chum
that.
well.
Chum
You don't
well
have
on
to
a
be
boat.
three.
You know, a lot of guys.
Just have a 1-gallon and use the overflow from your well to splash it out.
Yeah.
It's like a pool and a hot tub up
Yeah.
top.
Put a little
Got a
scene.
little
Bam, bam.
I mean, you'd have a hot tub live well.
It's kind of funny you say that because a customer. This was last year. We were fishing some flats, and we had fished several days together, and we were fishing in
God,
two
I
different.
feel bad for
Yeah, we had a good time. But anyhow, we went to two different spots, and we hit those same actually spots 2 different days. One day we did well, and then one day we didn't. But the stingrays showed up, and he kept wondering. He goes, "Man, how do these stingrays always know to come around? It was, those big ones." And I said, "They're getting the overflow from the live well." He was talking about. I said, "Well, my live well's pumping water in, raw water in. It's overflowing, and all the ammonia and scales or whatever's in the well is cleaning off, and it's running out the back, and you're getting a scent trail
Right.
out wherever your overflows on your boat.
And then every time you take a dead bait,
Dead bait,
off
and you
chunk
flip
him,
him
they're
off.
on
He's
it.
just flapping around, So I do think you get some of that going on too, because I've noticed that once you get a big ray around,
Oh.
they don't leave.
Mm.
They're just chilling out.
Oh yeah, they're eating.
they're just waiting for you. But,
Throw 4 or 5 baits out there, scatter them out, and they'll ease over. And they'll ease over. It's like a vacuum cleaner, man. Just
Oh yeah, it's game
Well, at
time.
the mouth of the river, that's how we ended up getting a couple big cobia last year. We were fishing in a real popular area at the mouth of the river, and we had some big rays, almost the same type scenario, man. And fun enough, I was cleaning out threadies, and we were fishing. And this was my afternoon, so I was kind of getting the first spot, getting it all prepped and everything, kind of cleaning everything up. And sure enough, I looked down, I goes, "Man, what's that?" I saw it's probably just a big old ray, and he goes, "That don't look like a stingray to me," and it was like a 40-pound cobia, man, sitting under the boat. I go, "Here, man," and it was one of them moments where you had everything. So I reached up, grabbed the big rod, went like this, and just dangled it over the side, and
cane pole.
boom, son, right there. Man. But now, stories upon stories, man. What let's talk about what's going on in Tampa Bay, guys.
Well, before we do that,
Yeah.
can we get this out of the way?
Let's do it.
We got and we got a bunch of guys coming in saying, "Hey, man, thanks, guys.
What up, fellas?
Thanks for spending
all the-
spend your time with us. We do
to
appreciate
all the
it.
lovers and the haters. We even like haters.
We haters." Okay, we were
Taters.
given by the
Taters.
higher ups a couple things here, and I think y'all talked about last tournament last week.
We did.
It runs until the 23rd. What?
You're just funny, man. He's so serious.
What?
Like,
Well, hey, this is
But tighten up. This is business.
it's from the higher.
Business.
hey,
It's
this
from the
is-
higher ups.
This is what they give us.
It's like I don't want to get in trouble.
I ain't getting in
They
trouble.
might pull the plug. We
No.
might get off the air
Let me
here.
do that.
Clear my throat.
They'll send us home.
Oh,
But anyway,
my God.
runs through the 23rd. Grand prize drawing is charter with Captain Dave Joe Ventrello. Don't know if that's inshore or offshore.
Is this real?
Probably bass, being that this is a bass tournament. But anyway,
Is this really happening?
this is happening. And there's some prizes here. I can't hardly read the writing, but first place gets a Tatula combo, and second place gets a Fuega combo, and third place gets a
Fuego.
big Daiwa tackle box, and I was told it was big.
Big.
Anyway, there's that. And
Huge.
also the monthly fishing class that they're having here on 21st. Lynn Zirkle is going to talk about kingfish. Pam's going to talk about kayaking, and then Captain James Bridges is going to talk
No.
about
James Beers.
It
Bridges.
says James Bridges.
Yeah. Was her? What did she say? She was dyslexic.
Yeah.
That's about right.
James somebody's going to be talking
James
fish.
James is going to be here on the 21st, and
I'm going to take
not
bets
the
as
chauffeur.
James Beers.
James Beers.
But
He's
anyway,
gonna be doing that.
So
James Beers.
done.
James Beers.
Talk about what you want to talk about. We got the bits taken care of.
The bitness.
Pat Hutt's whitebait is we're pretty good on whitebait, man. It's around. It's on the markers. It's at the bridge. Who knows after the front that we're actually it literally hitting us right now. Tomorrow's gonna be 48 degrees, but let's see. Water temperature's holding. We
Yeah,
have
water
15-degree
temperature's good.
water temperature swing. I marked A1 at the highest, and I got 64 at the lowest in the last week. We've had some changes happen, but it's not for the bad. We were getting too warm too fast.
warm
Like
too
I'm
fast.
thinking,
I think so,
man,
too.
this is getting crazy.
I think so too.
Chet Jennings was out ready to cut his wrist, and that was a month ago.
Yeah.
He's like,
February.
I may be tapping out.
Chet's
People don't realize we had record hot temperatures
Yeah,
all through
record.
February. I mean, like literally record temperatures. So that's definitely impacted. And if you've been watching the show, we've been talking about how spring sort of showed up a little early.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the beginning, really the second week in February, really, I mean, we were catching snook like we were catching them in April, you know, and since then it's sort of been the same thing. So I noticed, and I know you guys have too. You and I talked the other day about how the bite was sort of weird. These fish were not really chewing throughout the day. They were being a little picky on
Right.
when and sort of where they were going to feed, and we've been noticing the same thing. Now, is it because of the strong tides that we've had? We've had some strong wind, and we've also had
We've
you
had
know
a high barometer too.
high barometer, had some weird bluebird skies days, and then coming off
Don't
the full
forget,
moon. So everything's moving
4-footers.
around this time of year in general.
4-footers in the bay. Let's forget
Well, that's
that.
what I mean by wind. I mean, last Saturday I had a double, and
You called that one, didn't you? Is that the day you?
man, I burned it. I went out and left my dock at like 6:45, and by I don't know, man, 9:30, I had about a dozen baits, and it wasn't the bait part that really got me. It was the fact that it was blowing 25 to the north
Yeah.
on a full moon, negative tide.
Yeah.
The area that I have been catching fish, I wasn't going to be able to get to. We had first part of the first initial cold front coming, and I had a father, a son, and like an 8-year-old boy
Sounds
for
like
my
a
morning
cancel.
trip.
You did.
So we rescheduled the trip, and we're going to do it in the next week. So
Especially a reschedule.
it just isn't worth, especially a newer client, want to get his grandson out. That wasn't the day. Now, a couple hardcore guys, the only they got to fish or whatever the case may be,
That's what I got tomorrow.
let's roll. Let's
Yeah,
go
you
wing
ain't
it.
kidding
I,
us.
tri-
But
I
you-
tried. to get
But
out
you
of
set it
tomorrow.
up. You
I
lay
did.
it on the
No, I
platter. Go,
just-
look, here's the deal.
Yeah,
I
I tried to get out of it, and they're hardcore. They're
Hey,
ready to
man.
do it.
Yeah.
I
Don't
and
know
I even said,
till
I
you
don't even know if
go.
I can get bait.
Whose
So we're seeing
audio
artists.
is glitchy, guys? You gotta let us know. Ty, who's got? We may need some batteries to
What-
replace, but let us know if somebody ain't
You
coming
know, hey
through.
man, I'm digging this
Let
Ty
us
dude,
know.
man. He seems like a cool
He's a cool
cat.
cat,
We're gonna
man.
have to bring him in the show.
Yeah,
Ty, you
bring
gonna
him
do
in.
the show with us, man?
Oh,
He seems like a
Um,
cool cat. We'll bring him in here as a guest.
Pat
if he
asks
wants to
about
do-
the deep thick. You having to chum it up, and where are you getting the big bags of Purina? Well, to answer the first part, of that, it is deep. In
All
some
of them.
in some areas, it's thick,
all glitchy.
and really
Uh-oh.
not working, huh?
Start using end signals.
Yeah, Concur audio is weird here too.
Huh. Well,
Man, I don't know sign language.
all right.
I only one.
It looks like it's working here.
Don't
But
know. Facebook.
I don't know.
Might-
What's that right there?
Travis sounds glitchy.
What's that there, Lex?
That's
He
all-
always
I'm
sounds
the only
like
one
that.
talking. Let's see.
Lexicon.
Let's see
right
if we
there.
can change it up here. See if it makes a difference.
Oh God. Time out. Hold on.
Y'all still got us? Is that better?
Yes, sir.
Is that any better?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Now we're not talking at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
Well, see
Now-
if that
now
made a
the-
difference.
Show just took a weird turn.
Well,
We're all quiet.
oh well.
Hopefully, it's
Hopefully
going to get
it's-
better.
hopefully it's
Sorry,
coming through,
guys. I'll talk slow.
But it's just popping, and if the okay, let's see if I can work back here a little bit.
We're tech.
Is that any better? Can you hear me now?
Just go behind the board. We'll run the show. Jeez,
I
you're
know,
messing
man.
it all up.
It's all good. We'll roll it. But anyway, so it's been sort of the hot topic. We've got some questions coming around about it, and that's because finally dropped, Matt. Finally.
Matt, we hit puberty, brother.
Finally dropped, man. But
We all sound deeper. I said we hit puberty.
yeah, I hit it.
Please laugh at my joke.
You got it this week. I know you got it this week. I saw the
God,
tone
that
in your
was
voice.
funny, man.
But now, so we've been getting bait locally here on the South Shore, guys. On most of the markers have bait. But what we've been talking about is it's that time of year where everything's on the markers. You've got pinfish, you've got Spanish sardines, you've got threadfins, you're getting I've even got some squirrel fish. I've caught skipjacks. Everything's on the marker. Yep, caught some squirrelfish on the marker. So there's spadefish around the marker. I mean, you're gonna catch all different types of stuff on the markers right now.
You got a henway out there too.
Henways, hordews. I mean, they're all out there, dude. Everything is going off right now. But the key is trying to get the white bait. And there's a couple things that that I've noticed for me that's helped. And I'll kind of throw a few of those out there. It seems to be that the Spanish sardines are closer to structure for the most part. If you can see them, in other words, if you pull up to a marker, most of the markers that we've been getting bait at, and you see a school of bait that's right tight to the marker, to me it has been those Spanish sardines. And the white bait has been off the marker a little bit and more down on the bottom.
And denser pack.
Denser,
Seem
small
like
packs
they've
moving
been,
around.
yeah.
So if you get to a marker and it's 15 foot 8 and it's real popcorn small looking stuff on your machine, chances are it's sardines. And be careful if you're gonna throw and you've got the luxury of having a quarter and a 3/8, fire your quarter first and see what you're working with before you bust out that 3/8. The interesting thing about Spanish sardines is they'll be long, and even if you visually see them in the water, they'll look like, oh, those are good greenbacks, but they're a lot narrower than a greenback. So even though lengthwise they look good for not getting hung up, thickness-wise,
Right.
every one of them is going to get hung in the net, especially at 3/8. So,
And
just
if
be careful
somebody,
with it.
you're talking to the sardine expert. This
Hey,
guy has trash
he
nets.
is.
bang, dude.
He has done it.
I mean,
I've been there
if,
twice.
if anybody
I
can
witnessed
fill
it.
every single hole on the net with a sardine in one throw,
I've seen him.
you're
do
the
it.
guy.
It's
I've
insane.
seen him do it twice. It's unreal.
insane.
I
It's
mean-
a special kind of talent.
Dude.
to
I
do
mean,
that.
I'm talking every hole. He didn't skip one. I mean, every once in a while
Jason
you
goes,
miss a
Jason
hole.
goes, I'm coming, bro. I'm coming. He jumps on the boat and he goes, don't lift it out of the water. I said, you ain't got to
You
worry,
gotta
about,
worry
that.
about that.
I can't move it, dude.
Son,
It is like,
it was
and it
game
doesn't
over.
fall. You get that much, and it's all hung. Literally just meat the whole way up, man. It's not pretty. So, watch out for that, guys. But the white bait is around. There's some good white bait. A lot of small stuff showing up locally,
Yeah,
which
whatever
is-
happened to normal
which is kind of weird.
bait?
But it's there.
I don't
What's
know.
normal?
We
Well,
haven't-
this time of year is that 3 to 4 inch stuff.
We haven't
for
had
me.
normal for a year and a half. We
No.
haven't.
No,
No.
we haven't had a consistent weather pattern. I think this year we may have the same.
We've had consistent. It's
when-
consistently
No, I'm saying
screwed
from
up.
year to
When-
year.
I
Yeah,
mean, it's almost
way
like
off.
hatch baits at the marker.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Even the threadies.
I
don't know if
never
you
in
noticed
my
that,
life
but
of fishing,
all
except
the
for the last
threadies are
3 or
real
2 or
small.
3 I've had to have a super heavy quarter in net to throw at the markers.
Yeah.
Never had it.
Mhm.
Matter of fact, at one point I was
They
doing
made
half-inch
such a thing.
nets.
Yeah,
I was buying a half-inch for every once in a while when the tide's ripping.
yeah. Especially
But-
during tarpon season, we get threadies.
Yeah, well, I'll use what's the bigger one? 1.25 inch. I use the. I
mullet
got a
net.
thread. Yeah. I use 1.25 inch net, which I need to get another one. But yeah, I don't know.
It's weird, man. But the key is just you got to go out there and you got to do it. And what we've been talking about is it's like day to day, man. It's like that same marker we were throwing on. I was throwing a 3/8 net, and baits were 3.5, 4 inches, solid white bait.
Well,
And come back 2 days later, and it's nothing but Spanish sardines and baby thread fins.
let's do this, Travis.
It may be 2 hours later.
What
we're-
happened?
We're on a
You know?
bait right here.
Which is whatever, it's cool.
We're on a bait
I like
kick
it. I
here.
really like that. It's
And
practice.
so there's something that I think we should our show is about educating people and making y'all laugh too. That my job's make y'all laugh. You guys actually talk education.
You don't even try though.
I know.
They're not laughing at you.
Well, I don't care.
They're not laughing with you.
I don't care as long as they're laughing. It don't matter. No, on a serious note, like everybody, the markers now. There's the big craze about getting made in the markers. People have figured it out. I wouldn't necessarily say it was a secret before, but it was definitely more of a secret than it's now.
Sure.
So since we know there's going to be other boats at the marker with us, best thing we can do is educate people what not to do at the marker.
And we do this for a year.
And I think one of the main things, guys, that kind of drags me nuts, and we're all guilty of it if you're in bad weather, but blowing a marker up. Like, understand that
what that is.
blowing a marker up means when you go to throw the net, and if it's a ripping tide, don't try to throw directly into the marker. Throw to the sides of it to where when you throw in reverse, you really don't want to sit at 3,000 RPMs. When you throw that bubble out the front of your boat, it carries through that marker, and you knock the bait off, and the bait will go lay down off the marker, and then it gets harder to get.
Sometimes they come right back. Sometimes they don't.
And there's a good way, and I'm going to show you. So this is the marker, and you got a ripping tide. You're going to throw this way. I don't know if you guys can see this. I think you can. Try to aim out, and actually, I'm going to admit, Travis is better at this than I am. It's gotten easier for me since I switched boats because Canyon Bay's a boat. There's one thing they don't do is back up very well.
Especially in the last 2 weeks, none of them back up very well.
My boat just seems to back gutter, and it's just easier for me to throw the net off. But if you can throw to the sides of the marker, out a ways, you're going to have a lot more success. One thing I like to do is if you come up and you throw, you kind of ease and do everything small. Don't go big. Don't go 3,000 RPMs across the marker to mark bait. Try to run the motor as slow as you can because all that noise and exhaust and gas messes stuff up. If you're going to throw and let's just say you got a full moon or a ripping tide, you want to throw to the sides of the marker. If you throw head on, you got to come way off. But what I would like to do, say this Penn's boat, is you want to come in and you throw your net if it's head on to the sides, and I'll take the boat, and if you can't just drift down the side of it, turn your motor as soon as you throw the boat and just put it reverse and back the boat like this.
Just engage it. You don't even got to throw
You
up.
back it in, you turn that boat sideways, and then you come with the net down the side. What it does is you don't smoke the bait. You haven't blown the bait off the marker for everybody else or even yourself if you had to again. So the markers are very tricky. I particularly like the tripod markers that are shorter, are a little easier to throw on the sides. The square ones are a little bit more difficult because, they're just square. And also look at your depths. When you
you're saying that they both have a give and take. The nice thing of a square marker, and we were talking about this,
straight down,
those poles go straight down.
Yeah.
Where the tripods those poles kind of going out. Yes, it's easier to do a drift by, but also you can closer on a square marker than the tripod markers. But something being said about blowing out the marker. Sometimes you get your boat out of position. That happens to all of us. We've all done it. You have to blow that marker out.
Yeah, don't run into the marker, but try to have a plan going into throwing the net. And sometimes it's hard to gauge that time. Even us, like we'll just screw up, and you got to pull up and do it again. I'll be the first to tell you, and Travis sees me a lot of times. I'd rather stop and chum the bait up.
Right.
I don't care about spending money on chum, but at times. The other day, it was 3 to 4 footers out there. Like you really,
you can, but it's not.
It's just not feasible. And the other thing you do when you're roll by is you don't have to take as much time. You ain't gonna drop the trolling or drop the anchor. Oh, there ain't 8 here. This is thread fins, or this is sardines. I gotta move to the next one. You can just roll the next one. So, but everybody knows about the marks or the bait in deep water. So, like I think we should just try to educate people on how to effectively all work together out there. It's like
the good etiquette of chum bait. Here's some bad etiquette. The guy's anchored up chumming. Don't slip up there and throw.
I got them all right here.
Yeah, or at least communicate a little better. Like people roll up and I mean, I don't really say much. I kind of mean mug him a little bit.
We got a numbnuts on South Shore.
He'll blow a mark up.
Well, he'll roll right in there and throw on your chin and back on out and be gone.
We need to give him a good beat down is what we need to do. But anyhow.
I want to add a little bit to it on the
Of course you do technical.
Hey, well, it is technical.
Everything we do is
you
technical.
don't think
Travis.
about how easy sometimes, quote unquote, we make it look when you go out there and you catch bait. And I know
I never make it look easy.
I ain't never make catching bait look easy. What are you talking about?
In terms of a lot of folks that are not catching bait all the time, they're going down to the bait shop to get bait. What I'm saying is like when you pull up the marker, you say, "Oh, throw up against tide, throw up against that." Where is the bait? If you have a good bottom machine, you can't do a loop on the marker and see the bait or whatever. The first thing you got to figure out is where do you throw your net? Where is the bait? And a lot of times, like I look at the wind. There's two deciding factors on where I'm going to throw my net.
You can see the wind?
Well, it's what the wind's doing and which way the tide's going.
Throws the grass here.
But it happened to the day, and I hear people, and the reason why I'm bringing this up because I hear people complain all the time. Well, the wind and the tide were going opposite. I couldn't get bait on the marker. For me, honestly, I don't mind that. It's just where I'm going to position my boat and how I'm going to approach the spot I want to throw the net. Same thing that happened to us. It was the exact same thing that happened to us 2 mornings ago. The tide was going this way, and wind was blowing this way. And so
I had one plan. He had another. Mine was not as good as his.
Well, my point was like normally, okay, tide's going this way, so you'd want to be throwing your net. A lot of times, guys, bait is on the tide side of the marker.
That's the tower way.
That's the tower. So if
Small
the tide
tower.
is going this way, chances are the bait's going to be on this side.
My honeycomb says get shrimp.
Every now and again,
Good
you'll
call.
get some bait if it's loaded on the back part of the marker where the tide's going through. But most of the time, the bait is sitting forward of the tide. So if we got bait sitting here, the tide's going this way and the wind's going this way, a lot of guys will want to come in just like this, use the tide to their advantage, and throw the net. But in a stiff 15 to 20 mile an hour knot wind, you're not going to open that net. You're not going to be able to get where you need to be. So what we were doing is you count, you make an idle around, and you kind of nose up in that marker with the wind at an angle. Now my back is at the wind. When I throw, just like you said, you're going to bump it in reverse. You're not going to goose it. You're going to bump it in reverse and just slide your boat, the nose boat, around the outside of that marker. The tide's going to bring it down the edge, and you're going to get bait most of the time. If
that's
bad,
the arrangement, as long as the winds aren't really
if it's really bad, what you got to watch for is, are you going to get blown into the marker, or are you going to get sucked into it and throw your net? And it takes some practice, especially by yourself. If you're
and I'm going to tell you right now, it's not real safe.
It's definitely not safe, especially when you leave this helm of your vessel with a cast net loaded and walk up to the bow and you throw. I make the habit of never leaving my boat in gear. I'm going to walk up and throw. I don't have it in gear and walk up and throw.
Very random, very rare, because
it will be in neutral, and I'll have a game plan. A lot of times I'll get up to the front of the boat before I need to be there. So I'll get drift set up. The boat's drifting in like I want it to. I'll get up on the bow, get to where I need to be, throw, and immediately I'll walk to the back of the boat and put the boat in
gear. If
gear.
y'all are ever there, watch Travis. Travis is very good.
It's a tough thing to do, and you really got to kind of have an idea of what your boat's going to do. Has to be sort of second nature. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to know how you're going to react.
I don't want to see him when he puts an hour in that boat, because it's all going to change.
It does change. And then my
everything with a tower. Well, like, it's funny we were talking about boat with a tower, one without a tower. Rick, I think you're out there. We're doing the hilltide drifts during tar season. Dude, I was running to somebody.
All over
like, we're in the same drift, same wind, and I got a tower and he don't. I had to crank my motor up and get away from him, because my boat was just like running into his on the drift, like it wasn't working. But it all changes. You have to be used to the boat. For example, me and Danny went out and got bait. Anybody that, a lot of motors now are electronic. They're very touchy, except for Rick's got a school.
When we went on bait the other day, I was driving his boat, and how many times we're just
goosed it. You were good at my boat, though.
No, I would go from forward to neutral and go right on past neutral, click into reverse. I did that probably 3 or 4 times.
You were good on my boat, though. But anyways, Danny was with me.
You know what that is? You know what they call that?
Suzuki.
That's power.
Yeah, it's got a lot. It's
Power,
his Suzuki's
son.
got a lot of power in reverse.
Power.
We're starting to. This is
But,
going to go.
That's
bad.
torque.
This
Hey,
is gonna
that's
go
torque.
bad. This is going
That's
bad. I can
immediate
tell you.
torque.
I've seen some
Immediate
dance before here.
But being like you said, being used to the boat. I tell you something too. When you're out there, and if you're using somebody else's boat, you're not used to it. If this is your throttle, use your thumb to move it. Don't use your hand, because your hand is more tempted to goose it one way. Or if you use your thumb, you put a binnacle and you just rock it like that. It's like backing a trailer up. You don't want to when you're throwing stuff in reverse on the markers, or you use throttle. It's an organized system. It's just like backing a trailer up. When you back a trailer up, what do you do with the steering wheel? Kind of quarter turn. You don't go like this, because it's a lagged reaction on the trailer.
Yep.
I always tell people, you want to just put your hand, nice easy turns, quarter turns, see what the reaction is, quarter turn. You could do the same thing getting bait, bump it in reverse. A lot of times, like,
if it doesn't go, you just ease into it.
Don't frickin' goose it to 3,000 RPMs, because you're going to blow all that bait off the marker, and then it's ruined. You're going to have to go to another marker sometime and get it off the marker. Once they get off that marker, it's hard in 20 to water.
If you're not a bottom fish guy, and that's another thing too, and we've talked about it this time of year, and I haven't finally got my today, so I can't wait to get my bottom machine back. But
yeah, you want to talk Tampa? This guy's getting bait without a bottom machine.
I've been around with you guys going, hey man, did you get when you went by? Like,
it's right here, Travis, right here.
It's right here. So I'm like memorizing where he pointed to, but it definitely helps. That song and dance is a lot easier with a good bottom machine and where that bait's at. And sometimes, and the reason why I bring that up is sometimes 10 minutes before you got there, guy just blew it out.
Yeah.
And you're not marking it close to the marker. A lot of times I'll do that.
Circle
2 or 3
around.
little circles around. A lot of times you'll see it pop up, and that's not necessarily where it wants to be. Sometimes you can put your trolling motor down and start trying, and the next thing you know, it's right back on the marker.
I'll tell you too, running out, and it's me. I've noticed it a lot. I've changed myself a little bit in the last year. I'm getting big. Running out, and you're hitting 3 to 4 footers. It's right here. It all starts right here. When you got the wrong mindset, and I've had the wrong. You run it every day, and you're just like, oh, I don't do this. The wind's
That's what
bad.
happened to me. I had a double, which puts even more. You gotta have enough bait for 2 trips.
Yeah,
Like,
and it's never smooth on a
pick up at
double.
9,
4-hour trip, you're gonna smoke it.
It's like, just a tough thing. But before we leave the cast net thing, and I think that's a couple other things to talk about. There was one thing that I think we failed to mention, and it's a very, very,
don't fall in the water.
Very important part of cast net and deep water bait in general. Is if you're gonna get up to the front of your boat and you're gonna throw a net, and don't let your boat drift by a marker the tide's ripping, you better have that net off your hand.
Yep.
And have the loop in your hand.
I always slide it to right here.
Because you're never going to be able, especially in a strong tide, be able to pull your boat back around a marker, or be able to drive the boat and be able to get back to the helm if that thing gets caught.
You know who I heard that from?
That's a very big thing, man. If you're out there doing that stuff, and it just happened the morning that I canceled. Another local captain, Captain Jeremy Himes, I ran into him on another marker, and he goes, dude, I about ripped my arm out of socket, and he had to let it go because he got it hung, and he did a drift by, and you don't know, you know what I mean? Because you think, and all of a sudden you're in a bad spot in 3 seconds.
Situation.
Now you're pinned up, you can't even get to your helm, and so he just took it off and let it go and lost the net. I mean, that easy. So it's
but if that thing is it's noosing around your wrist,
and it's pulling tighter.
All you do is you got to get in the habit, do it on the fly. You throw, slide it off, put it right here.
Yep.
I learned that years ago. I listened to a seminar. I mean, I'm talking over 20 years ago. I worked at Motors World part time, and that's where seminars were big. And I worked there part time. We'd have Billy Knowles, Woody Gore came and did a seminar, and it's one of them things I just happened to catch. I thought, well, that's a good idea. It is like sliding that off my wrist is as part of me split the net. Like, it's just what I do.
Yeah.
And I just thought it made such sense. And it's not even if you get hung on the net. What if you get a porpoise wraps your net?
Eric just said something about a 14-foot sawfish. There used to be a net out there, and it's just been years ago, but I was using them for a while.
Sawfish?
No, just about 10 years ago. But they had instead of the rope coming up and making the knot and looping through, there was a neoprene sleeve.
West Coast spreader.
Yeah.
Is that who that was?
Yep.
And that thing, you could keep it on your, and if you got in a bind,
you could break.
It would stretch it enough that you could.
Get
Yeah,
it
I
off
know.
your
Danny had them nets. Actually, it was a pretty nice net.
I used to. They were real nice. Nets.
Yeah, he got one. He had a 1/4 inch. I threw it. It was pretty nice net. Because he had it a couple years back. But I did like that. It was, wasn't a rope. It was a neoprene, like you said. But it's safety first, because like you said, that's a scary deal, and you just have to slide that thing off your wrist to where you can get it off your hand.
It's just all some of that stuff. Guys, when you get out there and you're by yourself, I mean, I don't know how many people. I'm seeing it more and more, and I think you guys are too. When we're out there fishing, seeing a guy on a Tuesday, Wednesday, right by himself out there fishing, And so I think more and more people are fishing by themselves. And things that
Are we 17 minutes past our break?
the things that we're talking about, we're kind of drilling them because it has second nature, especially when you're out there by yourself. So,
With that being said, we got to take a break.
Gotta
I put
take
my
a little
clock
break,
on,
guys.
Man. We're taking better breaks, by the way. Well, guys, you listen. Did you cut us off?
Nope.
Oh, what are you doing?
Go ahead.
Oh, all right, guys, we're
Take us
gonna
out.
come back. We're gonna take a little break, pay some bills. When we get back, you're gonna be talking more fishing. You listen to Tampa Fishing Outfitters Fishing Report. I always point to that because that reminds me. All right, guys, we're right back.
Welcome back to Tampa Fishing Outfitters Live Fish Report. I'm Rick with Travis and Jason, and we are just chatting about some fish. Right now,
Actually, we were baiting.
Well, we were debating a few things.
Debating.
But it seems like the topic tonight has worked its way on the trail of catching bait at the markers, and which this time of year this is a great topic. And maybe while we're talking about catching bait, we can leave the markers and maybe talk a little bit about catching bait on flats, which is my preferred way to do it. I personally would rather put up with the mess.
Never hung one on the flats.
I've never lost a net on
But
flats.
we've had snotgrass a
That
couple
just
times
about
that I
feels like
wanted
It's-
that net
it's
away.
It can be a pain, but I guess we all have our preferences, and I would just
It's
rather
cleaner.
have-
It is cleaner but you know what? If we got our normal grass, it doesn't bother me like
right.
I don't know the grass. If it's not a huge
It's
if you're
not
getting
bad.
them huge bumps where
That's
oh man, it's bad.
I will say that this past year, I went ahead and I got for the flats, I threw 10-foot quarter shallow water. And I really did notice a difference, especially when in another month or so, when we're getting bait from Cockroach Bay onto the port, okay?
Right.
And that grass. I noticed a big difference catching bait with that shallow water net. This is the weight of the net versus a traditional
That's
just
the only
10-foot
difference,
quarter.
correct?
It's just the weight.
Just the
It's
weight.
just the amount of weight. And what I liked about it was, I can chuck it a long way. Because sometimes when you're on the flats, guys, what you'll notice is sometimes the bait comes right up to your boat, sit there, and as soon as the sun breaks over, it wants to sit just at cast net range. I mean, or 10 feet off your boat, and it won't come in no matter how much you chum. That for me has been good because I can launch it and really get it out there. Light net, it's 10 foot quarter, so you're not gilling up some of the smaller baits. A lot of times you get a mixed bag of bait when you're on the flats. You'll get the school of magnums that come through, and then all the little kids with him, and you'll have 4 dozen studs and 18 dozen little guys. And so the 1/4 inch net is 9 times out of 10 the way to go on the flats. And with the amount of grass that we have on the South Shore, I've noticed that
They
that
throw
light-
nicer too.
They do throw nicer.
I picked up my 11-foot quarter from throwing the 11 through 8. It's like it just
the material.
yeah. If it's not windy, it's just like like it just flows.
And
I'm just the opposite.
No man.
See you like a 3/8 on the
But
on the
my,
flats.
It's the material's
my
just
3/8
thinner
has pencil weights instead of egg weights too. I think those would throw easier.
We need to talk. Actually, I want to come back with the pencil weight.
We've had debate here.
Yeah.
Travis,
I guess our audio's all jacked up.
is it still?
I don't know. He said it sounds like
well, Brian, you've kind of let the cat out of the bag. We are confidential informants.
yes. You can
I'm
see
glad
our
you finally
faces.
realize that.
Crap.
Oops.
This is supposed to be just sound
no.
only. Sorry, guys.
They're
Travis,
so deep.
you're fired.
That's what she said. Anyhow,
Well, hey guys, we have a trivia.
we can. Yeah, we've
We
got.
got
we'll do
Blue
something.
Water Gear
Come on.
stepped up once again. They're going to give us a shirt to give away to a lucky winner on our trivia. So we're gonna have to go with our trivia.
We're
Travis, we're gonna pick. Stop laughing at my trivia, man.
Dude, you missed last week's trio. Nobody even understood what the question was, and then nobody even knew what the answer was. So
Travis
it was
gives
like-
the answer.
The guy said it.
He said it. No, he did. That was Craig.
All right, I got one. Let's
This
see.
is for a
Let's
Blue
see.
Water Gear shirt. I'm gonna need your size, and we'll keep that confidential. Need your size and address.
There was one on here that wanted. Hang on.
We
Here we go.
Get a question.
Here we go. Here we go.
True or false questions?
When here's a good one. It's a good one. Listen, it's a good one. So when returning from open sea, you should keep the red navigation aids on your starboard side when entering channel. This is a true or false question. I guess a good question. I mean, when returning from open sea, you should keep the red navigation aids on your starboard side when in the channel. Is that true or false?
We need some Jeopardy music when this is happening.
Ding, ding.
Yeah. Well, there we go.
True.
And we have a winner.
And from Jason's bag of trivia here.
I'm basic, man.
Yes. So that is true, guys.
red, right,
Red. That was the
red,
point.
right, returning.
That's right. Red, right, returning.
And if you're confused
Who
about
was the
port,
first true?
starboard, it's port, starboard.
Port star. The way that I've always remembered.
Red, right, return.
Red return, and you always remember left the port.
Yeah. Well,
That's why I do it. I left the
sometimes that
port.
red return will screw you in
Intercoastal water. That was my
Intercoastal,
next.
it'll get you.
That was my next thing, man. If you've ever been down like the Sarasota or even down towards Venice area and ran intercoastal, it can get wonky.
I was
You're
trying
going-
to get to Clearwater.
Which
I ended
channel-
up in Boca Grande. No, I'm just
No, that's compassing. That's a little different there, Rick.
Hey, if
But,
you're running the flats, what do? Trimmer high and let fly.
yes.
Oh, right on by. Right on by. Let her eat, son.
Who
But,
did I hear that from? Robert Little said that to him. He goes,
Stewart.
trimmer high and let her fly. Yeah, probably T.
Sounds like a T.J. Stewart. Let her eat, boys.
That's me.
But
Anyway, that's an
who's
important
our
thing.
who's our answer? You got to scroll.
Go back.
That's
Go
an
all the way
important
back
thing
to
to
the
remember.
first
I think it was Mark Magny.
And again,
Yep,
thanks
Mark
to
Magny.
Water Gear, we're on a constant building block with. We're making stuff happen, and
Mark Magny
new
winner.
clothing company, and glad to have them on board. We're going to be working on
Mark,
some
you won a
emotional
wife
stuff too.
beater T-shirt.
Compliments of Haynes. We got
But anyway, I
Gear's
thought that
gonna
was
hook us
important. I
up.
thought that was an important one. I mean, obviously, most of our listeners are boaters and are familiar with that stuff. But for any of the folks that don't, man, there's a lot of people on the water this time of year.
Well, there's
And
some good
That's
comments
yeah,
there on
some
how
good
to remember things.
to how to remember it. But that's a very important thing to remember, man. Especially when this time of year, like when you've got folks that are running all over the place, to know whether you're in the channel or not.
Right.
It just happened to me on my afternoon trip yesterday. We were coming around and we were heading back into Cockroach Bay, and we come around the point there by the oyster bar. There was a guy in an aluminum boat. One guy sitting on the front, the other guy on the back. The guy on the back fishing in the middle of it couldn't have been anywhere in the middle of the channel, and the other guy was fishing out the other side on the other side of the channel. And their boat was anchored up in the middle of the channel. One guy come in a houseboat or a car boat, just completely tanked.
car boats.
You know, he had a windshield all up front. You know, looked like a car. And
What
so
in the world are you
like,
talking about?
you know, So he come flying
A
by.
bow rider?
Yeah, bow rider.
Instead of car
It's a
boat.
car boat.
It look a car, dude. They got a windshield. If you
I
got
never
windshield
even thought
wipers
about
and your dang boat is less than 20 foot, it's a car boat. Shouldn't even be on
Oh
the
my
boat.
god!
But anyway, so
I've never heard that in my life.
they smoked these guys, right? And it was like a what was that movie with Caddyshack? You know, he comes through. He's got
Car boat.
but
Dude, we gotta get you on Bravo,
anyhow,
man.
So I threw right, and of course I lay it down. I ease, and the guy goes, "Dang man, I thought you were gonna blow us up too." And I
Did
said,
you
"Listen,
educate him?
I did."
You
I said, "Look,
Say,
man,
hey,
I said,
bud, you're in the channel.
I wouldn't do that to you, man." I said, "But I promise you, the longer you sit here, the more that's going to happen."
Yes.
And I said, "You've got no right really to yell at these folks." I said, "Because you're kind of fitting in the middle of the channel."
You're
He
in
goes,
the highway.
he goes, "Where's the channel?" And I said, "Right where you're at." He thought it was on the other side of those markers. So he thought that he was on the flat.
He thought every other boat wrong. The other 10 boats wrong.
I'm just saying. That's what he thought. So to say red right return, he he did have blinkers. He had blinkers
All
on.
right.
He had hazards
Dude, you
on.
got people going crazy in the car boat. Dude, this guy, they need to pull housewives in their Prieto slots that they got on Bravo.
Call it the Yaeckel.
Captain Yaeckel
Oh,
here.
Yaeckel
gosh.
hour.
Dude, if you put a camera with this guy 24 hours, train wreck.
Good things will happen.
Guaranteed.
We'd lose network. Network would go down.
This
A
guy is
car
a
boat.
trip, man.
Wow.
You and Viz, we'll put on Viz Nevada.
Dude, that would be bad.
Between his boat driving and firefighting.
Talking about boats, man. Last time we were in Venice, remember that boat stunk at the marina? And everybody left. I'm like, oh, I'm just going to walk in there and we're going to pull our boat out. And I go down and we're pulling our boat out. And I look over and literally, dude, the boat is just tanking. And the guy's up getting hammered at the bar. So I run up there, right? And I'm like, hey, man, I'm like, not trying to interrupt anybody, but there's a boat sinking out there. And the lady goes, oh, okay, I'll let somebody know. The bartender, I'm like, no, you might want to make an announcement now because like cowling is like barely over the water level. So the one guy looks out and he goes, hey, that's my boat sinking. And like the whole bar cleared out, man. Like ran over there. The guy's jumping on the boat and he got dunks everywhere. It was crazy, man. But Viz, you missed that one, dude. That was after half a bottle of rum.
Oh, God. That was
But,
after the tournament.
Yes.
Yeah, he's in rare form.
But anyway, guys, we're kind of blabbing here. We've got a few more minutes, got about 10 more minutes. If there's anything we can answer, you got any questions, you got anything you want us to talk about, you got any things coming up for the next couple weeks you want to get lined up, we can plan it up. If you got to
Let's
get
Ty Colby in here, man.
got something we can bring Ty in.
He's
can
like
bring
a
Ty.
pretty cool cat, man.
Yeah, that sounds like you want to give him to dinner.
Hey, no, I ain't doing
Ty,
that.
you
He's got a man.
You
crush
gotta
on
pay.
you.
Dude, I'm just showing. I'm not a hater to the new guys. Welcome. They're cool. Welcome them on
He's
board.
a cool guy, man. We'll bring him on. Yeah, let us
Don't-
know. I'll give you a
don't
shout,
be mean,
Ty.
though.
We'll plan you a day, man. You come in one Wednesday night with us, brother. So I've got trips lined up for the next couple weeks. So do you guys. What are you guys thinking is going to happen over the next few weeks?
I think we're gonna get cold fronts, but it's not. Water temperature's gotten too high. We're not. If anything, this cold front, I think it's sparked the bite. My snook fishing has been phenomenal the last couple trips. I mean, yesterday first bait. Well, not the first bait, but the first fish was like 35 inches. I'm like,
Sure.
okay, well this is off to a good start. And then, we caught snook every cast. And
Hey, I got to answer that, by the way.
which one? Oh God, gold glitter 313 DOA. There you go.
Hey,
And then
learning.
Dave will come in
You're
and
learning.
say gold spoon.
you're learning.
But I don't think I don't think it's changed much. The high pressure system is going to affect us. But I think the snook bite's going to continue to be good. I think our trout fishing's going to be hit or miss like it's been. I don't know what's going on with the redfish. I don't know. I seen something on Instagram about full-time guides complaining about redfish.
I saw a whole.
I guess
I
I'm one of
read a
them
whole.
full-time.
I didn't go.
I
into
guess
it.
I'm one of them full-time guides
Yeah.
complaining about redfish because it just ain't that good. It was another Instagram post, and they had picture of redfish and like complaining. I'm not complaining. It's just stating facts.
Saying
It's just not
like
good.
it used to be.
It's definitely changed. It's definitely changed. I think every year there's a certain number of things that change. I mean, we've had environmental changes that are taking place. We've got an area that we fish. And guys, that's the other thing too is we fish the South Shore of Tampa Bay. I know our show is out and people end up watching us. I get random people calling me from other place. I had a guy call me Texas the other day asking about stuff. Are you guys in Texas? I was like, no, dude, I'm a long way away from Texas. But
we'll take you fishing.
right. So, anyways, we're talking about the South Shore of Tampa. That's generally where I would say 3 of us spend 90% of our time, 80% of our
Ken,
time.
good call, buddy.
But so you got Z-Mans.
Pearl White, Z-Man. It's the trout. I do good on trout with that.
Boom, Santa.
Going rooster fishing. Now that is some serious stuff.
Phil, I got to get to Costa Rica.
Vita, man.
He's gonna. We're
That
gonna.
was
We're gonna.
cool.
We
Man,
need to.
that's
We
fun.
actually talked. No, I took him fishing, and we actually talked on the boat off subject about putting together. And he could organize all this. He lives there. He's a travel agent, lives there. Putting together a trip. We asked listeners, what do you guys think about doing a trip? Put a package deal together.
Let's do it.
We'll go. The listeners go. Bring the wives. We're gonna leave the kids. We'll leave the kids.
You ain't my kid. I promise you that. She'll be in your suitcase.
But we'll make it like a 10 fishing outfitters
Let's do it.
Yeah.
deal.
Hey,
Now, only downside is
I'm
you're
down.
going to have to pay for the trip. I mean, we're not going to pay for it.
Oh, for real?
He can put this deal
You ain't
together.
paying
We
for
talked
mine?
about it. No, I'm
You
not
paying for
paying for
mine?
it.
Come on, man. Put a couple of those pavers around that pool.
Oh, man. But I'm thinking we ought to put this together, like a fun trip. And you know, their season, he was telling us, like in our off season, like January there is primo.
I fished.
I mean, let's see, in January, what are we doing?
Whereabouts are you at, Phil? What part of Costa Rica are you at, or are you in? The only trip that I've been to Costa Rica was to Capos, and we did a little travel trip. So we went kind of that whole Pacific coast. We kind of toured down through there. We went to a couple different places, but the area down in there was really nice because it was away from like the Arenal and the big tourists. It's like Orlando.
I
sort
want
of
the
Tampa.
tourist stuff. I'm tourist.
Well, see, I like to fish though. Like,
I do too. We can go fishing.
you know,
Central Valley.
Central
but
Valley.
that whole central portion, Pacific coast, is really cool, man. The scenery, the fishing, the locals.
Well, he lives there, so I'm gonna take
Um,
his advice over yours.
Well, why don't we go where I told you to go? Capos.
Well, then maybe I'm not gonna
See?
go there just to be
oh
hard.
boy, Phil, what's up?
So
we
we'll
stayed.
go.
We stayed in the La Mansion. Well, that's where we stayed, and we ate at their
We
plane
should
and all
do
that
it.
good stuff.
We should, man. We'll do like a trip. Invite everybody that watches our show to come along and be like a whole shebang. Like we'll have packages together.
It's gonna be huge.
huge.
Phil may say we can only have so many. So before we start saying, let's get any.
I already talked to him on the boat. Well, I mean, yeah, we gotta have to
let's-
cap it. I mean,
Let's get some information.
we'll rent out the whole Atlantis. Oh wait, that's Jamaica.
No, that's
Now we're
Bahamas.
getting crazy.
Bahamas.
Now we're getting crazy. We're getting
Whatever.
towards the end of the show, here,
Yeah.
guys.
It's getting deep.
All
But
right.
anyways,
Hey,
that's right.
We got some people who want to talk about lures.
Yeah.
Ken said the electric chicken, which is good. I mean, that's good.
I would
But,
say anything you catch. I want to say, my opinion, this time of year, the crustacean pattern is sort of, we're coming off of that. So your shrimps and your crabs and that type of stuff, I think, is sort of went off.
What's the
and-
go-to color? What's your go-to color?
Gold, 100% gold,
Gold.
gold or silver. I'll go back between, but gold is
Mark
my go-to.
Nichols should pay you.
What's your go-to?
Me? Whatever's.
Pearl white, dude. You're just so.
I,
you're just
I,
so
I like Pearl White.
you're
I like
so-
Houdini. See, my man there. I didn't turn Brian on the Houdini. He put the Houdini. I said you got to put the Houdini on. You put Houdini
you
on.
can't
They don't
you can't test lures in Louisiana if ever you were.
No.
Okay.
No, yeah.
lure- There's
Yeah,
no
you gotta
lure
put a
testing.
chick wing.
There's no
I put
lure
a beef
testing in
O'Brady's
Louisiana.
chicken wing on a jig head in Louisiana and caught 30 redfish.
It's crazy.
Yeah, no, it don't matter there.
Oh shoot.
But
I'm a DOA cow man myself, man.
you 313 glitter gold.
313 gold glitter, baby.
Nice.
He's even
Yes,
got
sir.
me memorized, and he said it so much.
One day learn.
Oh my
Grasshopper.
God,
And in the words of Chris Howell, grasshopper,
grasshopper.
you'll learn, grasshopper.
But
But,
yeah, you can't go wrong with the black and gold.
Is
The
that
Houdini, I really like
Is
the
it
Houdini.
black?
No, it's like a natural color with some glitter. It's pretty cool, really good. I've done really well with it. I've done well Pearl White, the Houdini color. Everybody uses New Penny. I've never caught a lot on Penny. I keep trying it, but
To me, new penny is more of a fall bait, or when I'm fishing over big, heavy turtle grass. I like fishing with new penny colors and those browns and those root beers, the browns, the darker shades of the gold and the brown, the gold and the blacks. I take a place that I really like fishing that's down in Boca Grande area, where you've got really thick, heavy turtle grass, and the fish. I'm going redfish for the most part.
Well,
laying
Houdini,
in the
and you've done really well on Houdini down there.
Actually, looking for those baits that come skipping across. Wood Creek's a good place to.
Houdini is kind of close
about.
to New Penny. It's in it's in that darker kind of. So, and I've done really well. That's where I said I'm gonna try this.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like snook, trout, redfish. Like I was like, wow. And once you get that confidence on the color, you're just gonna be like, I need to put this on.
How many of you guys think, I'm going to kind of pull our audience here, how many of you guys think that, what is the biggest factor in picking or using, or what makes an artificial bait successful? Is it the color, or is it the action? I mean, what do you, or is it the silhouette or the shape?
I think that changes.
Let's do those two.
I think
or a combination of all.
Some days maybe that vibration. Some days it's the color. Some days that entices them. Some days it's probably the presentation.
Because I found like when I'm filming with soft plastics, and I've noticed it, redfish tournament you throw a ton, and I've noticed that you sort of get your own little giddy. Like even if I'm gonna slow down, it's still the same motion. It's almost like muscle memory, where I have this little. Sometimes it's a little more jiggle than and a lot more reel or whatever, but still that same motion, no matter what color or what bait I'm using. There's a nice rooster.
Phil just texted that.
Nice.
Yeah,
I got like that on my honeymoons when we went to Costa Rica.
Phil, we're gonna make this happen, man.
Anyhow, I just thought I'd ask because, color's always when you go down the aisle. The reason is you go down the aisle, it's the same bait, but it's got 50 different colors to it. And how much does that really make a difference? And for me personally, I don't see a huge difference in like the one that's a little green, a little bit of black, or this or that. And
I'll tell you another good bait.
And Brian Visnovec hit it on the head. I think it boils down to confidence. Whatever bait you're confident in. I'm more like to the true. So like with me, like I order soft plastics or I have them. I have like a bulk bag of gold, a bulk bag of root beer, and then I'll play with like a little. I'll have some.
I got like 100 colors,
but
I got a box full, like a huge thing of Z-Man,
and you probably have
and
three.
I feel like 4 colors because
right.
we'll get on the boat. I'll tell you another bait. It's funny. I look at it, and you think, man, this thing's not going to have good action. They're Little John, and Brian turned me on. He's
the Little John,
the Johns, and I think they're Big John, the regular one. They dart like
they don't have a Big John.
Or they're a Little John and
the
maybe
Big John.
You get
the Little John and the Big John. Are you a Little John or are you a Big John?
I don't know. It's the big one version. They call it something. I don't remember the name of it. Whatever. You know what I'm talking about. But they actually do a darting like this.
It's a dart.
But you look at it, it has the tail.
John.
The darting John. It is.
Yeah, in soft plastics, I look at it. You've got 3 different.
I'm gonna
type
shut
deals.
my mic off
So
a little
you've got a paddle tail,
which
is a traditional. It's anywhere from a 3-inch up to a 5-6 inch paddle.
XL. There we go.
Then you got a fluke, which is more like your
Big John.
It's not like a Big John. It's a fluke or a
Hurry, you got
I'm
30
missing
seconds.
the word here. Somebody's gonna
nervous.
pick it up.
Dude, you can't even
swim
call
bait.
me a name.
swim
You just
bait.
called
a fluke
boat.
or a swim bait, and they've got the dart. Those are the 3 like main soft plastics. The dart, there's 2 manufacturers like a good dart bait. Is Mirror makes a Little John, and then Mr. Twister makes a dart. They actually call a dart, which is they that bait for a long time. That's the one with the bite out of it.
But anyways, it's the XLs they call it. XL. So whatever. I was close. XL big.
Oh,
Big John, XL John, whatever.
Oh, you're Little John.
We got some things.
You're a Little John.
Mini John.
Next week, Travis on Bravo. Game over.
No. Oh, all right, guys. Well, I think have expired our time here for this.
Thank you for spending your
now
time
we
with us.
get to ride home, talk about this without a camera on us.
We're
going to Costa Rica, man.
Hey, we are going to Phil. We're going to put this together, son. We get this down. Hey guys, Mark. I can't say his last name. I need you to message me if you don't want it on the comments, your size and address and all that about the shirt. Thanks for the Blue Water Wear for giveaways, and thanks for you guys for putting up with me all these years.
No problem.
and during the show.
Love you, man.
It's all right.
It's only the beginning, son.
Love you.
I get worse as I get older. Until next week, you guys stay safe and catch some fish. And tune in. We'll be the same place, same time.
All right, boys. See you next week.